Paul Azinger has never been shy about sharing his thoughts, especially when it comes to the Ryder Cup. A major champion, a longtime broadcaster, and one of the few American captains to steer the U.S. to victory in this century, Azinger has earned his reputation as a man whose perspective carries weight. And after Europe's recent win at Bethpage Black, he had plenty to say. Speaking on Golf.com's podcast Subpar, Azinger addressed the atmosphere, the fan behavior, and most notably, Rory McIlroy. He was quick to give credit to the Ulsterman for easing pressure on his European teammates 2 years ago in Rome, when McIlroy admitted how daunting it is to win away from home. Azinger even predicted Europe would triumph in New York. But after that came a pointed critique. He said he admires Rory, but questioned his message. Azinger pointed out that McIlroy, in the heat of competition, let fly with F-bombs, telling hecklers to shut up and celebrating after sticking an approach shot. Yet, after the dust settled, McIlroy stood at the press conference insisting golf should be held to a higher standard of decorum. Azinger's take was blunt: you can't have it both ways. If players demand better behavior from fans, they themselves must uphold that same standard. On the broader issue of fan conduct, Azinger wasn't surprised by the rowdy scenes. He said everyone knew what Bethpage Black could become, that the PGA of America had been warned for years the atmosphere might turn chaotic. And in his words, if the beers hadn't cost $16 each, things might have been even worse. Turning to the competition itself, Azinger admitted he was stunned by how the Europeans dominated the opening days. The Americans went into Sunday trailing by 7, staring down the need for the greatest comeback in Ryder Cup history. Against all odds, they nearly pulled it off, losing only one singles match in what became a 15-13 final. It was the closest home loss by either side since Medina in 2012. Azinger said Europe nearly let the match slip away, but credited them for doing the real damage early. For him, those first 2 days were the decisive blow, a tough pill for the Americans to swallow. He admitted there was a moment when it felt like a historic collapse was on the horizon, something that might even force the PGA of America to rethink its entire Ryder Cup structure. But in the end, the outcome was far from devastating. Instead, it was a dramatic, nail-biting finish that added another unforgettable chapter to the rivalry.